Welcome back to Extra Time Football. Following up with the recap over what happened today in the first game of the World Cup in the opener between Mexico and South Africa. The game fared to be a little bit more, I guess you could say, equal when it came to both sides, but South Africa clearly did not present themselves in this game. If anything, there was more concern, at least from my side, that Mexico would concede a goal due to their own errors rather than South Africa's play. But Mexico did have more control of the game. Thankfully they got that goal quickly within those first 10 minutes that really helped establish things. Pressure was really on South Africa from the beginning. The Mexico was pressuring. That line was really pushing them high. But as soon as that goal came in, you could definitely tell they, took the foot off the gas, which rightfully so you would expect them to do so. I would have loved to see more goals in this game, as I do feel Mexico could have gone for more. They definitely did take their foot off the gas, so they did bring it down a little bit. As far as the performance overall, a little bit to be desired, but from a Mexico standpoint, as a fan, you're glad that the team won. They kept a clean sheet and they scored more than one goal. Again, it could have been more goals and it could have helped for the goal difference because at the end of the day, that can very much help you, especially if it's two, possibly even three teams here to have for a certain spot. And it comes down to goal differences. These are the type of games that you really have to take advantage of and hammer the rival as much as you can. Mexico definitely could have gone for more goals, but overall, Quiñones' performance, Quiñones was man of the match of this game. Uh, a lot of other players, played solid minutes. I wouldn't say anybody else really stood out other than Quiñones and Lira as the two top players in this game. Lira did a hell of a job in midfield, just recovering the ball, being an absolute pit bull and being a dog in there, doing all the dirty work that he had to do. Quiñones, every single time he had the ball, just felt like it was going to be a dangerous attack. He even hit the woodwork there towards the end of the first half, which would have been nice to go into halftime with that 2-goal up lead, but it just wasn't meant to be. The second goal, Jimenez, glad for Jimenez to finally get his first World Cup goal. It's been 4 World Cups now, and I know this meant a lot to him. The tears came out, not only because it's his first World Cup goal, but, having lost his dad just about a month ago, I can't imagine the emotions he must have been feeling at that moment. So I know that this goal was truly very special for him. And it came at a better time. Mexico, the two strikers that you want to see scoring, both contributed. The hydration break that came in at the second half did kind of feel like it killed their momentum a bit. As Mexico was starting to get their footing in again in that second half, they were starting to get the touch again. It just feels like that water break really, really killed the momentum. But even before that, Mexico could have still started off stronger. Fidalgo had an easy opportunity in front of goal within the first 45, 50 seconds of the second half. But in a way, it kind of just seemed like he didn't know what to do when he got the ball. Like he was really caught off guard and didn't know how to proceed with it. That he just started cutting in and retaining the ball within the box when he should have either just taken the shot the moment that he got it, or the moment he takes that first cut in, Quiñones was to his left, make that pass right there. One other thing to highlight at the end of the first half too was Brian Gutierrez's 1-on-2 that he had from the pass that through ball pass that Quiñones put to him. It just looked like he didn't know how to define the moment, which it was a player that watching the game did feel like the nerves were there for him. As he wasn't the same Brian Gutierrez that we had seen in the previous friendlies. Ball retention just wasn't the same. He wasn't conducting himself with the same amount of confidence that he had been recently. I'm not saying that he shouldn't start the next game, but he definitely left a little bit more to be desired. Gil Mora's debut in the World Cup, it was very much anticipated, as you can hear from the fans. They were screaming his name. They gave him an ovation when he stepped into the field. So we'd definitely love to see more of him. Unfortunately, he came in at a time where the second goal just came right away, and it just calmed the attack more. So I would have loved to see Mexico attack more and do more with it, but hey, he'll take the 3 points and the 2 goals scored. One player I do want to shout out. I know I said only two were really the standouts, but one that really, really also stood out as a third, kind of, if you want to throw in a third player, Piojo Alvarado. Not a player that I was very on board with. I should have been at the World Cup, or should have been called up. But in the last friendly or two, he lived up to expectations. He did a pretty decent job. And today, I know he got the cross in for that second goal. What a cross too. You don't really see that from Mexican talent players in the league. If you watch Liga MX regular, they're not crossing the ball like that. But watching him whip that ball into the box like that was really good. And yeah, I thought he was going to be a player that was going to, overstay his welcome with the national team in the World Cup. But man, he played a hell of a game too. He did a good job on that right side to begin to start to do the whole game basically. So other than that, like obviously, what kind of else can you take away from the 3 red cards in the game? The 2 for South Africa, the 1 from Mexico. You don't want to see Cesar Montes doing that. Mexico didn't take any others full-time center backs. No other full-time center back was called up. As you do have Edson and you do have Israel Reyes, but they are multi-role players where it's not necessarily their main position. Israel Reyes can play more center back, and I think I trust him more than Edson, as Edson has more of that Rafa Marquez style-esque, where he's going to come in with a hard tackle, but that hard tackle can also lead to what we saw with Montes, a red card right there. Overall, the Mexico qualification, I'd say 6.5, 7-ish score overall. They got the 3 points, the home opener win, which is what you wanted, got the win in front of the home crowd. So you did what you had to do. Could have and should have scored more goals, but that's in the past already. You still won. You got the 2 goals. You kept the clean sheet. Keep that momentum. Bring it on to South Korea for the next game, and definitely take care of that advantage and secure that first place spot. And last thoughts, regarding South Africa, I didn't see anything special from them. I saw a team that looked nervous for the occasion. You could definitely see it the way that they were coming out. The goalie just wasn't sure in himself with the passes out to the defense. The players coming out from the back just looked nervous. The players weren't receiving. Desperation kicked in. The moment desperation kicked in, they just started going to, let's just foul. Every single tackle was a hard tackle that was either a yellow or, as we saw, the 2 reds as well. So from South Africa, this is what we're going to be seeing from them. I might have to change up predictions a little bit. I know I had put them 3rd and the Czech Republic 4th, but this is the South Africa we're seeing. I don't see South Africa walking away with any points from this group. And that was my post-game analysis of the first game of the home opener. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hoping to do another one for the South Korea and Czech Republic game later tonight. Hopefully I can catch you on that one, and thank you for tuning in.